On today's podcast show with Stephen and Winston, or is that Winston and Stephen? Let us know in the comments. At any rate, the pandemic has completely changed the way we work, we play, and we interact with other people. In my household, it's even changed the way that my kids go to school. How about you, Winston?
Same here. Whenever I'm working from home, the priority seems to be the family first. But I have to say to them, look, at least give me 2 to 3 hours a day for my work undisturbed, because if I don't, then I can't do my work. But yeah, family seems to be a major part of working from home, and you have to kind of deal with that, prioritize it a little bit, and set your goals, set your time. You know, that's the way I treat it and how I handle it. So yeah, definitely a big change. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people have been handling it as best as they could, and it's been over 2 years, and we've learned so much since those early days. So we're going to look back at working from home, and we're going to talk all about the things that worked and maybe some of the things that didn't right now.
Right.
But to start off, hey, before we do that, how is your sense of well-being, Winston?
I'm doing good. I think the 2 years have actually kind of made me kind of accustomed to working from home. I'm doing a lot more family related stuff as well, right? And also looking after myself. You try to hit the gym a little bit, once a week at least, just to get healthy and stuff like that, because you're now not driving, you're now not walking or anything like that, so you don't meet up with friends and that, so you can have to stay at home. So I think it's got to keep your health as well. And the other thing is I do a lot of home cooking now, because whereas before I just go down to the McDonald's or whatever, or the restaurant for a meal with the family. Now you're doing a lot more home cooking, and I think from a restaurant background, I think this is something good, because at least you now know how to cook.
Yeah,
I mean not your wife cooks most of the time, but then it's nice to take turns. So that's one thing I do a lot more now. So. Yeah.
Let's be perfectly honest here. In my household, I actually cook. My wife opens boxes. I'm going to put that out there right now. There's no disputing that. That's actually what happens. So I bought a wok. Yeah. So I've been using that. I've learned how to actually use a power wok, which means that I'm pushing it back and forth on the burner.
You do that? Power wok? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Power wok. So I've been learning that skill. That's something that I've always wanted to do. But, in my restaurant life, we use the big woks,
big ones, yeah.
That we couldn't do anything else with that. It was just very difficult to pick it. You can't pick that up, right? So it's stuck there. So I have a power wok at home. I've been learning that, which is I found very rewarding. A lot of the dishes have actually gotten a lot faster, because instead of like waiting, flip it, I'm just like
speedster,
right? It's been fantastic, and those are one that I think. A lot of the skills, especially what you talked about, is that working from home, learning to cook from home, eating healthier meals. Like you can't order takeaway all the time. You can't do Uber Eats all the time. But just having those skills now, like a lot of people have figured out how to open a tin, right?
Yeah, exactly,
or do basic things in the kitchen, because out of necessity, you don't have unlimited funds to order out every single day. You don't have the Starbucks every single day. You kind of have to. It's like, hey, you know what? I'll make my own coffee, gonna make my own food. Gotta get fast at it too, right? Because you don't have all day, all night.
If you're feeding a family of 4 or 5, then you need to know how kind of portions you need, how much time it needs to cook. Cooking something like a one piece for one meal, one person takes maybe 10 minutes. But cooking for a family of 4 or 5, you might need a bit longer. And different times with different meats and stuff like that. So you need to really look up on how to actually cook for a family, not just for yourself.
Yeah.
So,
and you also have to worry about the fact that if you're cooking, you're cleaning at the same time. So that like some people can make their meal, walk away. Oh, I'll just leave it in the dish. Like a single person, that works perfectly fine. But when you have 5 people that you need to feed, there's a dish full, like there's a sink full of dishes. You kind of have to make sure that you organize yourself, not only on the cooking part, but also on the cleanup part. And that's basically how a lot of this juggling has translated from work to life and back and forth, because we've just gotten, I think most of us have gotten a lot better at these organizational / time-saving measures that have kind of permeated this work-life balancing, right?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I mean,
but we also,
you got to like set some time for, like, for example, you got to do grocery shopping. If you're going to cook, you got to go grocery shopping, and then you got like, you got an electric vehicle, so that's okay. But People with gas cars, they need to go like once a week or twice in a month. They need to top up or fill up with the gas, right? And then you need to go do your chores, you run around picking up kids from school. Then you got to do this, you got to do that, and you got at the same time you're working from home, mind. Then you got to like set some time for your work at home. So it's all time management, and that's this kind of skill which a lot of people don't realize. It is something that you have to, not just learn, but trying to like manage. I do miss a lot of those niceties of going to work. Like you have that certain person that you always see every morning at work, and he or she is like, hey, how's it going? Or there's certain banter at the water cooler, which has become slack these days. But, I had a person at my former work when I was a cutlery person, and he would always ask us when we come into the office in the morning, how's your sense of well-being? I think that phrase kind of made me think about, well, how is my sense of well-being? Right? I couldn't actually answer that. I think that was a problem. I'm not sure. It's still something that I think about every day when I wake up and go to work. But I think, in a sense, having those kind of things to think about all day long really kind of focuses you for the day of work. And when we were all home, when we were with our kids and everything like that, that really messed things up. And, it's kind of one of those mental health things that kind of helps you, right? Because if you don't have these certain things that you latch on to kind of organize your day, but then your day becomes chaos, it's really, 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 really difficult. But we're talking about something that, I think a lot of people, the majority, don't have this type of privilege. And we have to recognize the fact that you and me, the fact that we could even work from home is a huge, huge privilege. I think
right?
so. I think so. Yeah, definitely. Because you think about all the other people who are in the services industry. They need to go to work. People, the restaurants, people in the healthcare, and people in government. Because you need, for example, a lot of the government services and stuff that it needs people to run. Because if you don't have people running it, then it's going to be difficult for everybody. And going to work for us, when you go to work, we have a mindset. You concentrate on work. You're working with colleagues and stuff like that. You get the job done, and your main focus is work. But when you're working from home, again, because there's so many distractions, family and other things, chores, it all adds up. It takes time to get used to it. I mean, it took me probably about a month, really, to try and figure out what to do, how to do, and how to approach this. But in the end, you will work it out. You'll figure it out, and then hopefully that's the kind of plan that you stick with, and you can take it from there. But like you said, it is a privilege that we work from home, and we have benefits, and we have negatives and positives. So we're going to talk about that later on, of course, in the show. So we definitely and I agree. We have to acknowledge the fact that if I don't make a TV show, if I don't make a radio show, it doesn't matter. So to the heroes out there that have been holding the line for the last 2 years, 3 years, thank you. Congrats, for being out there. Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, I mean, moving right along, I mean, obviously, without sponsors, shows like this don't happen, right? And in this case, the only sponsors that we have are you guys right there. That's right. Yeah, you right there. So, in order to keep sponsoring us, all you need to do is just hit the like button, comment, and make sure that you're subscribed, because every week we want to put out a new show. But most importantly, we want to make sure that you know that if we do a live show or have a newsletter or something like that, that you're also going to be part of that community. And we will build value into all of those channels. So as long as you're part of this community, we will do our best to make sure that you are taken care of. We'll answer every single comment, because we don't have millions of subscribers. We're going to give you our personal touch. And there's 2 of us. Yes, definitely. It's not just one dude. Right? So, but if you do know of a sponsor that would take pity on 2 guys trying a podcast at this late stage of the game, make sure that you send them to itsourpodcastshow@gmail.com. That's our email. Right. Just say, hey, how's it going? We have wine. We have
beer. You know what? At this point, we'll take anything.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yeah. Anything helps, because of course any of the proceeds will help us run the show. And of course, like I said, Stephen said about the community stuff, that occasionally we get sponsors with a special coupons, special codes that we can share, give you discounts and things like that. And definitely that will help during this time for all our subscribers and readers and viewers and so on. So definitely.
Absolutely. That's something that we will definitely be harping on. It's like, if we can't get a coupon code, we're going to have a giveaway, obviously, right? We're going to have to do something for you guys. So thank you so much for being here so far. Now, we're talking about the pandemic. We're talking about work from home, maybe a little bit less pandemic now because we're starting to see a light at the tunnel. But, some of these lessons that we've learned all the way through have been carrying forward really, really well for us. And one of the things that I think initially, which was a bit of a shock to many people, was that when everyone's at home, when every single person is connected to a Zoom call, even your 5-year-old on kindergarten, your internet goes to crap. And there's actually a couple reasons why. I think one of the things that I did immediately as soon as the guidelines came down, and this is shortly after, I think this is February timeframe for me, that we knew that we were heading home, I immediately negotiated a higher bandwidth plan with my provider. I'm with TELUS, full disclosure. I also own some of their stock, just so you know. It was one of the easiest choices I made. So we went from one of the half a gigabyte plans to a full gigabyte fiber plan. We had fiber installation come in. We set everything up. And wow, what a difference to have all these people. And you don't really think about that, because if you actually counted how many devices in your home are connected to the internet, every single device is sucking down a little bit of bandwidth. And when you're not home, most of it doesn't run. But when you are home, holy heck.
Everything.
What was your experience?
Yeah, I mean, TVs, mobile phones, laptops, computers, even media boxes, and the kids have a tablet each. That's all connected up. My wife and myself have a phone each, and it all takes a little bit away from the bandwidth. So I'm lucky because this apartment that I'm renting is actually already fibered up with 1 gig connection. So we got a full 1 gig, and also with the 1 gig plan, you also get a high upload, which means you get good streaming connections. So you need good upload to do the streaming. And that's one of the things that people don't realize, that, I'm getting 500 meg download, I'm getting whatever, a gig download. But you got to also remember that the upload is also important, because if you want to do streaming, game streaming, or if you want to do video calls, that's also very important as well. So yeah,
that's right. Because a lot of new YouTubers had all this extra time on hand to actually help them execute. And one of the things that have helped out, even streamers, even Twitch, a lot of these people have become famous seemingly overnight, but they did it over a year period where the pandemic was at its height and they were stuck at home. They've been creating some amazing content that have helped, I think, a lot of us get through all these really difficult kind of times where we don't know what's happening next. The government is trying to figure out what's going on next. The scientists are trying to figure out which variant is going to affect us and how. I mean, there's just so much going on that we needed those distractions. And I think, like you said, a lot of these new shows that we've been watching, like Disney Plus, Netflix,
definitely,
Apple TV, right? We've subscribed to more services ever. In this period.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, Netflix is one of my favorites because it had all the shows that you needed. But of course, certain shows, new shows, such as the Star Trek, a big Star Trek fan, of course. Picard is on CBS. So I need to figure out how to subscribe to them. And then, of course, the upcoming shows, they have the new Strange New Worlds. And there's other shows which are exclusive only to a certain streaming platform. So you have to go and subscribe to them. But the good thing about it is that a lot of these TV stations, streaming services, that allow you to subscribe trial for maybe a month or two, which is great because then you can figure out what shows are available on there, and if you like it, you can continue, and if you don't want it, you can actually unsubscribe. Whereas before, I remember when you subscribe, you have to take a 12-month contract. And you're tied in. A good thing about now, because of the pandemic, people know that they need to try these services out. They can give you a month trial and stuff like that. And if you don't like it, you can subscribe and unsubscribe anytime. If you keep on continue, then you can actually carry on and watch all the shows, which is good, really good.
Yeah. Like I think that one of our biggest purchases, after we knew that we would be stuck inside working from home and everything, was to keep my kids entertained, because the schools didn't know what was happening. They would send home lessons plans, and even the teachers were just really caught off guard because they are used to having the one-to-one connections. Like my youngest never got to go to kindergarten, right?
Really?
He never got to go. He and this is a kid with, he's got a good attention span, but it's not the same as being in the sandbox in the classroom, playing with the blocks. So his big brother and his big sister were all his playmates for like a good solid year. He never saw anyone, right? Which was unfortunate, right? So one of the big purchases, and I think that this helped kind of ease things, was actually our Xbox One.
Oh, okay.
Or One X. We actually did in Canada. There was this offer to do 12 months where you would pay 0% and you would pay X amount of dollars to buy it off, and it included the ultimate Game Pass. Oh,
the Game Pass, yeah, definitely. That's what everybody's talking about. Game Pass.
Yeah,
Microsoft doing some big stuff with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I absolutely love it. We get all the latest games, but of course I keep the filters on so that they are only playing their favorite game. One of their favorite games is, of course, Minecraft.
Minecraft, yeah, definitely, yeah.
I play Minecraft Dungeons with them. It's a lot of fun with us. We play some of the other games that are a little bit smaller. Overcooked 1, 2, and the Deluxe Edition are some of the most fun games because my daughter joins in, because then she gets to yell at her brothers for not putting the burger buns on at the right time. It's it's hilarious.
Flipping the burgers and getting all the customers
Give me more buns. Give me more buns. What are you doing?
Don't forget the salad. Yeah, get me some lettuce.
And just seeing them interact like that is actually a lot of fun. But these services have really kept our mental health kind of in check, because we could escape. And I think that a lot of industries were impacted so much that they were struggling to actually fill the airways, because, I mean, how do you film a TV show when everyone's in lockdown? How do you get the actors on the show with the mask on? How do you, these are things that everyone was figuring out. And, quite famously, Tom Cruise got really upset at his crew, or some members of his crew, because they weren't
wearing a mask and stuff like
that. They weren't looking after everyone. They were kind of taking a selfish moment, which of course we forget sometimes. Yeah. But you have to look at the bigger picture, is that if one person falls ill and your entire crew goes down, there's a lot of money involved. And as an executive producer, Tom Cruise was actually footing the bill.
Yeah.
Executive producers foot the bill.
Yeah. They pay the costs and stuff like that.
They pay for everything, right? So I mean, in a sense, it's kind of a conflict of interest, because he's paying for the show. He's also in the show. It's kind of a mess, but no, he is correct. I mean, so many people's livelihoods were kept going, especially in the film industry, because everyone decided to play by the same rule book so that everyone could go to work every single day.
Yeah, right? It's difficult. It's difficult because there's certain places you can't go to work. I mean, we're talking about when I came from Hong Kong. I mean, Hong Kong had a very, very good pandemic plan. The COVID plan what they had was like zero COVID, and it worked because everybody's doing their thing. They're working. They were out and about. They're wearing masks and being protective and stuff like that. And they were really screening people coming in and out of Hong Kong. And the only thing was that you just get one person who's uncareful, who didn't do all the pandemic checks, COVID checks, whatever, and then suddenly you get this outbreak. So you need to be considerate of other people. All that said and done, I think 2022 is better now. Because my hometown Cardiff, nobody's wearing masks now. I think they coping to live with COVID, and the variant that's happening now is Omicron and the AB variant,
the BA2,
and all that kind of stuff. I think it's a bit milder. Still, for young, healthy people, I think that it's okay. And if you have the jabs, that's even better. It's more concerning more with the older generation and the elderly, which I think is still a big concern. Still, I think, we're going to have to live with COVID. That's going to be a while. before we get back to normal. Working
Yeah.
from home is one of the solutions, which I'm all for. I think it's all good because then you get to spend more time with the family as well, and things
You
like
do.
that. And the only other concern I'm more worried about is the kids, because I noticed the kids though, with this pandemic for like 2 years, you'll notice that they're almost like 1 year behind, if you know what I mean. It's that kind of yeah. And
I think
when we were kids,
yeah.
we were like running around outside. Even like now, they don't have that luxury now of going outside to play, right, and meeting with other
Yeah.
kids and stuff like that.
It's getting a lot better. And
yeah.
There's a lot more freedom. I mean, my kids were always in gymnastics or karate, and for the most part, it was funny. Before the lockdown happened, we actually had one of the last in-person birthday parties ever for my oldest son.
Right,
And
right.
it was kind of a lucky thing before the new
Lockdowns.
guidelines came in.
Yeah.
So, like in the last instance, they lose out on a lot of those experiences that help them grow emotionally and intellectual, emotionally, it's the emotional part of it.
Yeah, definitely. Because you need that people-to-people interaction. And without that, it's just something that's just lacking, which I think, especially when we're talking about not just tech stuff, but, in the industry in general.
In general.
Yeah, I mean, we go to trade shows, we go to all that kind of stuff. That's all gone.
We shake hands, but we can't really do that right now.
But then you get to see the person, and
You get to see the people.
Yeah, and when we say, okay, we want to do this for you, do that for you, but then if you're just doing it virtually, it's just not as the same as actually meeting the same person.
I know.
In
In January, I was supposed to go to CES, and I actually got COVID before I was supposed to go on a plane.
Oh,
Yeah,
better now,
I tested
right?
completely positive, and I felt like crap. So it was a good idea that I shouldn't have gone, because I probably wouldn't have made it back because of the guidelines coming through the airport. I would have had to have tested negative, but because I looked like crap and I felt like crap, it was probably the best possible move, right? But I miss those things, right? But at this point, if you have good relationship with people, if you have the right skills, you should be able to build a relationship online, and then it just makes it a lot stronger when you get back in person.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I kind of feared for my kids, is that even though there was technology around, even though we could do Zoom classes, even though they could still speak to their peers and everything like that. Get this, the karate school was actually running virtual classes.
Oh, you mean like the instructor would be on the screen, and
Yep.
they would just the kids have to follow the instructor, right, online?
That's right.
Okay.
So there was a lot of innovation in that space and everything like that. Funny enough, when you were mentioning how kids were behind, my kids actually blitzed through all of the homeschooling stuff. They were done, and they were just back to playing video games. I mean, it's amazing how much time is taken in class with distractions, but when they were undistracted, they were just blitzing through everything.
Yeah.
Like, it was just crazy fast.
Yeah. The kids' interaction is important, I think. So hopefully everything will slowly get back to normal, and then we'll have that kind of kid-to-kid interaction. I think it's good for them. It's good for them because it's like a learning skill that they need to interact with kids, how to approach the outside world with other people, how to interact and stuff like that. Yeah. So
no, I totally agree. It's one thing to watch people on TV interact. It's another thing to actually do it yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they have kids. They have kids, friends online when they play in Roblox and they chat to them. It's just like what actually already immersed in that kind of metaverse, right?
Yes, the
virtual world
of the thing. Yes. No, it's different, but in person, it's always better. And I do believe that when we start to get back, unfortunately, in the virtual world, a lot of people have been revealed.
Oh yeah.
So, So how you deal with them is actually a little bit more informed. In a sense, it's actually more informed.
Well, this is it. When we were kids, we were playing games online, right? We were like, well, you have a little handle, right? My handle is Nucleus. And
yes.
I'm playing Unreal Tournament and stuff like that, or CS, Counter-Strike. And I'll be a different character. I'd be like this character that I wouldn't normally be as I would outside in the real world. So I'm in the virtual world. I'm this character. I'm kind of like, it's a form of escape, and this is where the kids now also are trying to do, but rather with their whatever games they're playing right now, as a different character. Because when I see the kids play games, they're like screaming, shouting, and they're like, but they're not like angry. They're like happy.
Angry,
yeah, or whatever. And when you take them outside, they're totally different. What's going on? Because they feel, I guess, more relaxed, more open, whatever, in the virtual game. Of course, as parents, need to be careful with all the parental controls and all the you've got to monitor any abuse or anything like that. So it's still very something that people really need to understand as well, because I know most parents don't realize there are stuff like that, dark stuff out there. That's one thing they need to be aware of. Yeah,
conducting yourself online it should be no different than conducting yourself in person, right? If you're a good person, you act a certain way. If you're not such a great person, you still act that way. But it online magnifies those personalities, like they really do. It's like a drug. You take away the inhibitions online, so the person that you really are shows up, and that's kind of what I meant by revealing. Like there's a lot of people that you thought were a certain way, but they're really not that way in real life, and then that kind of colors the way that you look at them, for better or for worse. But it also kind of protects you, because that who the people that you're most aligned with have always been those people. But the people that you weren't sure of, you definitely were right about, right? So you pick and choose, and your friendships actually become a lot stronger, because now you know what you're dealing with, the deck that you're dealing with. Like the people that you believe will, like if all hell broke loose and there was an alien invasion, who would you trust the most? And who would you trust to stab you in the back? You would know immediately, or leave you for dead. Right? It's like, no, I'm taking off in my Jeep, right? You know those people, and they've revealed themselves, which is actually a good and a bad thing. It lets you kind of read the nuances a little bit better, I think, in a sense, because if you see something, it's that much bigger online.
Yeah, well, talking about that stuff, I noticed a lot of people that I work with now have quit their jobs, right? And then they're applying jobs online, whether it's, they have the LinkedIn profile, and some of the stuff I read on LinkedIn, it's like, what?
You know what? That is the worst part, is that they've taken some of the things that they've learned on certain social media platforms during a certain type of government thing that happened. I'm going to call it a government thing, because we're not a political show. And they've taken those personalities and they've actually put them into their work life. So they've ruined themselves. Like they've genuinely ruined themselves.
And this is important where you have to work-life balance. You can't take everything from work home. There's certain things you can't, right? And and because work environment, that's also important, right? So I noticed when there are companies, large companies, multinational companies, of course, they're huge. There are certain toxic work environments, and you can't take that home, right?
No, you can't.
So the other thing is, when you're working from work, that's one of the benefits. There is no toxicity, right? There's nothing like that negative. And then with that also, it helps to build your family more stronger, I guess. Whereas before, you're always traveling away to work. If you know, it could be spending like a week in a location. You're traveling here, traveling there. Now there's no travel. Well, not as much travel, and now you're spending more time, which is great. And I think was one of those things that really helped kind of put the family together a bit more. I noticed one of the news articles is a lot of the guys that worked in New York City, big financial hub and all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. When a pandemic hit with the lockdowns, a lot of people just left, went back home to their hometown in the countryside, whatever it is, the Midwest, whatever. And it was like, I'm not going to the city anymore. I'm going to just stay in my little hometown. Everything's all cozy and comfy. I got my family. I got my family food, the home cooked food. And I'm working from home. You know,
it's same in California, in all the major cities where rent is exorbitantly expensive, right? I mean, Facebook, Google are the biggest companies employing in Silicon Valley, two of the biggest, and they've had to reevaluate some of their compensation packages because people have actually left. They're no longer in the city. They're no longer living there. So, you know, like managers and HR are like, okay, maybe we can pay this one a little bit less because they're no longer living here, right? So all these conversations are being had, and you know, now you're getting into the point where everyone's so used to working at home, everyone's happy there, and now you are forcing them to go back to work. Apple is famously one of the companies that has been forcing their workforce back into work. They don't want them to work from home. They want them back at the spaceship. And this has created some turmoil. So now you have the Great Resignation. Is my life right now, the life that I've built, the life that I'm comfortable with, where I see my kids every day, where I wake up whenever I want, where I've never interacted with my children so much since they've been born, like, is it worth it to keep the job that you are hoping to keep?
Yeah, a lot of these big industries and companies don't realize that not just because of the internet revolution, right? There are other ways of making money. There are other ways of getting your revenue stream.
Yes.
I mean, if you look at all the social media stuff, people making money on social media, doing their TikTok thing, doing like their, you know, that kind of stuff, having loads and loads of followers. YouTube is a big thing, is an example. And also with the event, we talked about the show a couple of weeks ago, the cryptos. People making money off cryptos and things like that. So there's no real urgent need to find a job that they have to go to, you know, right?
Yeah, or they hate, like you said, toxic work environment that you begrudgingly, you know, tolerate it just to get that paycheck, right? Now you don't have to. You can make a decision. I love my life at home. I love my job. I don't have to deal with your stuff at work, and I could do what I do best.
That's true. That's true.
In isolation, right?
Especially
there's a lot.
Content creators and things like that. I mean, there's a ton of people out there doing that. NFTs is another form of making money.
Yeah.
If you're an artist, if you're a musician, if you're good at creating artwork or content, then you're gonna do that and turn it into an NFT and making money there. So there's loads of examples I heard people doing that. So it's not just about trying so hard to get into work, and these big companies will say, oh, well, you know, we get these people back. But you got to realize that's not your only thing to get people coming back to work because of the paycheck, right?
See, I wonder if anyone has actually looked at what corporations and what businesses have actually taken away from employees. I mean, a study was done where now most people are spending an additional maybe 2-3 hours after hours to deal with work within the pandemic. You're actually paying your employees less now for more work.
I heard about that. Yeah, I heard about certain people are, because they're doing, I guess, a little bit of work at work and then taking that work home. And then that's even worse because you're actually part-time work in office, part-time work in home. So you're actually not fixed. Not fixed. Your mind doesn't know what's going on, right? So you have your plans for your routine. Routine is important in life as well. So your routine's all messed up. You're part-time working in the office, part-time working at home. If you haven't done stuff already at work, then you got to do that stuff at home, and it ties into your routine at home, and it kind of messes up. And my wife is actually experiencing that right now because she's getting kind of stressed right now. I think, how can you get stressed? You're working less at office, more at home, but then she doesn't know where she stands. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a bit messed up with the routine. It's
a total number of hours as well too. Like you're like, why are you calling people back to work? Employers, why? You're getting like extra hours out of them. They're doing better quality work. Have you not looked at that? Like seriously, have you not looked at that? I question this because is it just because you want more control?
Yeah. Well,
right.
Check this out, because my family owns a restaurant, right? So we normally open 7 days a week, and we used to 7 days a week, and it was just the staff was rotate, of course, shifts, and it turns out once my brother took over the restaurant, he decided, okay, let's take a day off for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So now it's a 6 day week, so they close on a Monday. right? So they open
that's
Tuesdays right through to Sundays. And that worked out okay. Then he realized that, hold on, it's 6 days a week. I think it's still not quite right. So what he did, he closed for 2 days. He closed Monday and Tuesday. So he opens from Wednesday to Sunday, and that's it. And now, in fact, that as I would say an experiment, but he did that, and it turned out better than working shift work for 7 days for all the staff work.
You actually get time off to think about, to reset, to actually do the things that you need. You're less stressed.
It's less stress, and also productivity goes up. So this is where people say, oh, we need a 4-day week, or 5-day week, 4-day week. It could work out better. Yeah. In my case, it did. Or my family's case, it did. So, yeah.
There's always always the experiment, but I think majority of people are happy having this work from home thing, and they're saving money.
Definitely.
They're seeing their children better. They're seeing the spouses more. For better or for worse, some people are just not getting along at home. This is the life. These are the people that you love, and you should be with them as much as possible. I don't love you at work. Right? I like you guys, but I would rather be at home most of the time, and I want to be able to be focused on things rather than dealing with a hand grenade tossed in the middle of the bullpen, saying, "Oh, we got to do this project." Oh no, I'm not part of that anymore. I don't have to worry. I don't have that stress. See, I only do this thing. Bye. Right? So, I mean, it's not such a bad thing. It's not such a bad thing at all. So, but I have to kind of realize that me and you, we have these choices. We can't stop remembering that by having these choices, this puts us in a position of privilege. It kind of almost disconnects us from the working people, and we have to be thankful for everyone that's out there that's putting it out. I mean, it wasn't always this way, right? You and me both have worked in the restaurant. We knew that there was no time off. We had that little table in the back of the restaurant where we did our homework, and then we went back to work.
Yeah,
so we know.
we know. Yeah,
right. So,
yeah, definitely. But talking about that, this of course, this podcast is run by myself, Winston, and Stephen, and we're looking for sponsors. So sponsors is what we need. And if you like our content, if you like our show, and give us an email at itsourpodcastshow@gmail.com. Any proceeds will help us with the show. And of course, if you have any promotions and things like that, we could also share it to our readers and viewers. So over to you, Steve.
And if we're not entertaining enough, just tell us, right? If we have to improve, you have to tell us, right? This show is also sponsored by you. So it's your fault that we're not entertaining if you're not telling us, okay?
Yeah, definitely comments.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Comment, likes, comments, dislike. Even if you dislike the video, that tells us that, that episode was a stinker. We better do something about it, Winston. Or when we're looking at our graphs, our retention graphs, and we see that, this part, everyone hates that. We'll make improvements, but you gotta let us know, okay? We are not mind readers. We don't have ESP or any of those. We're not Marvel. Yeah. we're not Avengers.
And if you have any topics that you really want us to talk about or investigate a little bit more, then let us know, because we're covering some topics, and of course we mostly tech, but then of course we got some other interesting stories from some of your future guests that we'll be having. So definitely leave us a comment, and we'll let you know.
They're super helpful, right? And definitely. Speaking of helping us level up, there's gear. Like throughout this pandemic. There's been gear. Like one of the very, 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 very first things that I think a lot of people purchased because they needed Wi-Fi internet connections in their houses was actually a router.
Yeah,
like a router, good one, right?
And the other big thing was webcams.
Yes. Webcams were out of stock for so long.
They were completely out of stock.
Oh my God. And keyboards and mice followed that because everyone realized that I can't type on this little tiny laptop keyboard. Yeah. I need a real keyboard, right?
And also wireless. Everybody lives wireless because they're so used to having their mobile phones and tablets, which are not wired up. So then they have a keyboard and you have to plug it in. What the hell?
Yeah.
So they wanted wireless keyboards, wireless mics, mouse and stuff like that, and everything's wireless. So that's why you need a good wireless router. And
Yeah.
the new ones, of course, with Wi-Fi 6 and 6E and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, like routers were huge because having like mesh routers now, you can buy an entire set for like $150 and they cover your home in full Wi-Fi. And you know what's fantastic about mesh networks over any other extension devices is the fact that it acts as one network. Okay, we're going to get a little bit nerdy right here, but Winston, a mesh network is one single network. It shares all of the devices over each one is a node. It shares one network. If you have any smart home devices, you require one single network for all of them to connect to. And you also need a mesh router that can handle those number of devices. Otherwise, it gets really, really slow, right? Now, what happens if you use a Wi-Fi extender? What's the downside?
Well, it actually reduces speed.
Yes, half duplex, right?
Yeah, it reduces the speed, and sometimes, not all, but the Wi-Fi SSDI name that you log on to could be different. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
But definitely speed difference. You notice that it's not the same speed. You buy something that's like the extender says it says 300 megabits per second, but you actually only getting half of that, maybe like 100.
Yes, because it is half duplex. And the other thing that I noticed, because I used to have these devices, even like this is way before mesh happened, is the fact that it actually splits your SSID in half. Your network is now is truncated from one part to the other. It's not actually connecting to the same network. So if you buy a Wi-Fi extender to extend your Wi-Fi upstairs or into the other room, what's going to happen is that all your smart home devices are going to pick one network to attach themselves to, and then they will be offline. They won't connect to each other. There's so many problems, right? So by having a mesh network, you've actually unified all your devices. Now, keep in mind, though, it's going to be the farther away you are, it's going to be slower. But because it's a mesh network, it still keeps everything unified in your home.
It is
so that's
the same network. Part. Yeah, that's true. The same subnet.
Same network.
Yeah, same subnet.
That is right.
Yeah.
And I see like during the time of people like having internet problems, I've seen so much poor, bad, horrible advice to buy these stupid devices that have caused all sorts of chaos. I mean, I observed a conversation on Twitter where this. And I think she's like a cat person because she calls herself Crazy Cat Lady. And she was recommending Wi-Fi extenders for some silly reason. Like she must not have any other devices except for the phone and her laptop. Because if you have, I have wireless light bulbs in my house, right? More than 5 is in my room right now. So if I had a Wi-Fi extender, they would be cut off from the rest of the network because the other ones are upstairs.
Right. Because they're on a different on a different subnet or a different SSID. So got to be careful with that. And I think the mesh definitely helped. You get a lot of the new ones will include mesh. So if you are running a Wi-Fi extender, do realize that it is kind of old technology now.
It is.
Try and get yourself a mesh, and also definitely have everything connected to one Wi-Fi SSID, because that will help with everything having in sync. Yeah.
And if you didn't take advantage of an upgrade from your provider, many of them actually have pre-packaged new router and mesh network setups all put together. TELUS does that. Rogers, I believe, in the East, and also Shaw locally, they have these mesh network setups that allow you to distribute the Wi-Fi around their home because they want you to have a good experience, right? Now, keep in mind, these aren't like crazy, like the Ubiquiti stuff that you can buy for $700 for a single node, but they're going to improve the quality of your life because now you can go all the way to the end of your home because kids are banging on the wall over here. You need a quiet place to do your Zoom. You can set up over there. It's enough bandwidth for you to have a Zoom call in a professional manner in your business suit with your pajama pants on.
Yeah, I've seen that.
No problem. No problem. So that's one of the major upgrades that we needed to do. But and also the keyboards, mouse, and everything. But I think we forget that we're humans, right? Me and you, we're humans, right? If we sit in a certain position for too long, our bodies get really upset. So ergonomics, chairs, standing desks, and everything. There was this stuff has been running out. Like IKEA was out of stock on their standing desks for so long.
Yeah, and also if you're a teenager or if you're a young adult, gaming chairs, man, they just
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's
There's
sales
no
of
more.
gaming chairs, and also we're not talking just the ordinary chairs that you sit in. You have like that goes around your waist. You got your head rest, and it's almost like a racing chair, right? But it helps you with your back. Actually, it helps you with the back.
You know who was buying them? Were actually older people, because they immediately discovered that gaming chairs were actually better than the stuff that you get at Staples. That's who was buying them. It wasn't kids. It's like adults were like. I saw like in some of the Zooms, I saw gaming chairs in rooms where people were that demographic. Probably shouldn't have that, but they realized that it works, right?
Yeah.
So they've been taking away gaming chairs from kids. You know who you are. You know who you are.
All the accessories and gadgets that go with working from home. Earlier we talked about webcams, of course, routers and stuff like keyboards and mice, and other things like the microphones. People because good sound, right? Because a lot of people don't realize that the onboard microphone on a laptop sucks. It's
garbage.
Just garbage, right?
Garbage.
Garbage. And you can get headsets with the mic that kind of work okay. But then, of course, like I said, what you're using there, a Rode. I'm using HyperX. This is for gaming version. It gives you that really crisp, clear noise cancellation kind of audio, which is really good.
Yeah.
You won't get this on a normal mic. Definitely, you will get it from a laptop. So
it gives you that close proximity radio voice.
Oh, radio. Yeah, if I'm getting closer here now, so you can hear that, right?
Brought to you by, like it makes a big difference because it's at the end of the day, your Zoom frame, including the background that you have, the lights that you have, like ring lights were selling out everywhere. They're probably in clearance aisles now because they made too many. But ring lights, lighting, microphones, headsets, all these things help you sound better to the person on the other side. And I think somewhere between like year 1 and year 2, a lot of people used to play this game where we would actually level up your Zoom frame through audio, video. Like I think around that time I bought a switcher because I thought I would do like more than one camera and everything like that. But it actually turned out to be a really good video processing device, which would actually turn into a webcam for my computer. You plug it in, it acts like a webcam, but it was full 4K and 1080p downsampled. But I could actually have more than one camera show different things that I was doing. Of course, you get tired of that. But for a period of time, I think that was the game. It's like, who has the best equipment on their Zoom call?
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I still see people wearing the headphones or or earbuds that come with the phone, and they stick that onto the laptop. I'm thinking, what kind of that sound quality or audio quality are you going to get from that kind of cheap included earbuds?
Yeah, or even more mind-boggling these days is that you don't have an earbuds, or you don't even have a headset. I mean, when you're doing that, you're giving the person on the other side of the screen a really poor experience. All the sound in the room. Yeah,
you're getting all the background noise. You're getting people knocking on the door. You can hear that. And then, of course, poor lighting is the other thing as well. So I guess, lighting could be an issue. Not everybody has like these studio lights and things like that. But even a nice kind of lamp just in front of you. So
just put one right here.
Yeah,
or
that's
here,
right. That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's all you need to do, right? And that helps the camera. That helps any webcam just get a better quality picture of you because it needs the light. It sucks in all light available. And if you don't have any light, you're just going to look like crap. You're going to look like a potato, dude. Like, seriously, you look like a potato. And it's no good, right? Like, the one hack that I have that's free for pretty much everyone is called the box hack. You know what I'm talking about?
What's that? Tell me.
Okay. So the box hack. Basically, every laptop has a webcam or something at a certain level. Oh. So if you choose to use the webcam in your laptop, and it's okay. Like some of them have 1080p, they're okay as long as you have enough light. But it's looking up at your nose. Right?
You're like that.
like up here, right? That's not flattering, right? So the box hack is basically you take the Amazon box that you got your toilet paper in, you put it underneath your laptop. you raise it. So you raise the laptop.
That's right.
And by raising it up, you just look more flattering.
Yeah,
it's
more kind of eye level.
That's right.
That people realize you can have like an eye level, which is...
That's right. It's why newscasters, they're staring right down at your soul because they have the camera at eye level. Like, I'm like staring down at you, Winston. Like, audience too, right? You know? So it's actually a way of interacting with the audience, is that if they understand you with good audio, they're not distracted by your background, the dogs barking or the airplane going by, and they are having an eye-to-eye communication with you. It's very hard to look away, right?
Oh yeah.
You know, because it's like, I know what you're doing back there. I know that you have pajama pants on, right? You know, so that's a lot of fun. I think we also have air purifiers too, right? Like, I think most people aren't used to living in their home all day long. So I've had to buy air purifiers. We've ACs, air conditioning. Oh my God. You have air conditioning at work. You don't have air conditioning at home. So, so you need an air conditioning unit. And oh man, last summer, because it was the hottest summer on record in Canada, so many people were scalping air conditioning units. Like, oh my God, like, get a life, right? It's like GPUs, like, get a life, dude. This can hurt. This can actually kill someone if they don't have an air conditioning unit.
Oh yeah. Right? I've heard people,
you know?
heat stroke and stuff like that. So you gotta be careful. Yeah, but definitely air purifiers, air conditioning. And the other thing I actually bought, which helped me a lot, is actually get a bigger monitor, because then now I can split screen and open different windows and actually productive, a bit more productive.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that. It's one of the things that I bought a long time ago, and I just use this for video editing, but it has a secondary purpose now. I can actually put my Zoom call over here, but I can still continue to work on these 4 windows because I have 6 windows all set up on my 34-inch widescreen. It's made it so easy to work and be multi-productive.
Yeah, because you're not switching between different windows or different apps. It's already there. You just move half of your mouse over and away you go. You got text editing there, and you got your web browsing there. So just you moving your mouse, and everything's in one place. You could actually assign those windows to different parts of the monitor, so it helps. It helps.
Oh yeah, totally. Like, I think that's one of the hacks that a lot of people don't realize, is that by having you know what? It's not a hack. It's actually a scientific proven thing that having more than one monitor will improve your productivity by a double-digit amount.
Well, if you look at your 14-inch laptop, you have a screen which is 14-inch, actually less than that, 13 whatever inch.
Yeah.
And
diagonal.
Imagine you have like 5 windows. How are you going to open them all and view them all? You can't.
You're
constantly switching different windows, and sometimes the windows, the tabs are overlay on top of each other, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So if you're like constantly flipping different tabs, you don't need to do that, because if you have a monitor and you could put those tabs assigned to like different parts of your screen, you're already there. Right. So it is definitely more productive. I find that myself.
Like, okay, like I'm a little bit spoiled here. I have a 4K monitor screen, so I can actually have the rundown for the show on the left-hand side, and then seeing you on the software on the right-hand side.
Ooh, fancy.
But, yeah, I am fancy. You know, like, look at my privilege over here. But, you know, like, if I did not have that, if I had any other laptop on the market where I didn't have this type of real estate, I would need an external monitor, and that would be the hugest upgrade for me, because I would have it right here. I would look at the rundown. Everything's there. It's such a good hack. And monitors, now that they're back in stock, you can get a really good one for $150 that is like HD, 1920 by 1080.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And if you're not being productive with it, watch TV on it if you want.
Yeah, you could just get a media box connected up, or even any other. Watch Netflix on there. That works fine.
Totally. Yeah. Like it's a work-life balance. It's like, I'm doing an email newsletter. I want to watch Picard. It's okay. It's okay, right? So I can do both, right? But, you know, including, like, is there any other hardware that we really loved during the period? Like, was there anything else that we, like, oh my God, I wish I had this?
Well, I do a lot of streaming these days. So not everybody needs to do streaming. It's something that content creators, YouTubers, and game streamers will do. The streaming capture cards are becoming a lot more popular. So before, Whereas, you have to get a PC. The capture card is internal. You have to plug it into the PCI slots, stuff like that. But now you can get USB ones. You can. I'm using one from EVGA. There's ones from Corsair. I also have the Corsair one there, Elgato. You just plug into USB, whack in the HDMI cable that goes into your camera, and away you go. And those devices, well, they're becoming more widely available and cheaper as well. They're getting cheaper and cheaper, and it allows people to do recording, streaming straight to Twitch, straight to YouTube, Facebook, and things like that. And that's something I think helps with content creators, because producing a video is all good because you're recording, you can start editing and stuff like that. I see a trend now where people are not just posting videos on YouTube, but actually live streaming. They can't be fussed with editing, which is okay, I guess, but they go straight to live, no edits. It's real. That's the person you're watching. He or she makes mistakes. That's okay. But remember, it's live, so it's okay. But if you're watching that live stuff, it's time zone difference is the only major issue. So, but if you follow this person, or he or she has a social media and stuff like that, I think that streaming is not just the next big thing; it's already a thing. But I think it's more mainstream now, rather than just you need to be a certain platform to watch a stream. But now you get multi-stream apps. So this is the talk. That's what we talk about, is the applications, apps for working from home.
Yeah, well, I think that a lot of people, especially since you touched on it, is that a lot of people have been using OBS or OBS Streamlabs, which is the paid version of it, and that's been allowing people to actually do better quality. Like, this is specifically for people that make money online from doing courses and stuff like that. They now have the ability to be in the space where they can actually do better quality presentations. They can have things fly up as they're doing a live presentation, and OBS provides a lot of those features. But it's not just about the webcam or anything like that. A lot of people have already have a camera that's capable, maybe a DSLR. They've been hooking those up to these capture devices, and that's actually been increasing the quality of the presentation. So the loss of potato cam webcams is not a bad thing. I've really enjoyed some of the frames that I've been seeing, because it's so clear, and it's such a pleasant way to represent yourself.
You're probably using a Sony's A7, is that right?
I'm using a Sony A7 III, but the funny part is that Canon was first. They allowed the webcam feature, but Sony did something to, and this is not a knock at Sony. Sony, this is like a complete afterthought for Sony, is that they've locked their resolution at 1000 by 576, which is below HD, right? So if you watched our first episode, I didn't actually clue into that until I watched the footage.
Right,
that's why my frame, even though it's on really good glass, it looks like potato almost. There's a little bit of noise. Now that I'm going through my capture card, which is, in this case, my capture is actually a Blackmagic A10 Mini Pro, which has multiple cameras that I can put in here, but I'm only using one. This has improved the quality completely. Right.
Yeah, I'm using a Sony A6400, which is a mirrorless camera, a little mini one that people carry around. It's cheap. It works.
And you've gone through the capture card, which is actually giving you full resolution.
It's the XVGA. So it works, and people are using cameras and digital cameras because it gives you the better quality. In fact, I can actually up my resolution to 4K streaming if I wanted to, but that's taken a lot of processing power and a lot of bandwidth on your internet. So I'm just doing HD. HD is fine. 1080p is
HD's fine. Yeah. Like right now, like even though live sounds really cool and everything like that, unedited. Well, guess what? Our entire show is unedited.
Yeah,
we don't edit these, right? We're actually having a conversation and we're talking to you directly, right? So even though you might be getting this a week later, it's okay, because like me and Winston are being real with you. Everything that we say, we've not edited. So this is something that's almost live, but if you guys keep supporting us, for sure, maybe we'll do a live show down the road. What do you think, Winston?
Yeah, definitely. I've been doing live shows on my tech stuff weekly, in fact, and I must admit, the first time I did it, because, pandemic, lockdowns, we're stuck at home. So I started this live show for the internet and tech stuff. And the first few shows, I'm kind of learning. I'm learning. There's certain mistakes I made, and there's certain presentation stuff I need to do. I need to have a workflow, like a rundown. You learn all that during the process. And over the first 2 months, then I finally found my formula. You can call it a formula that I'm comfortable with. So you have to be comfortable with what you're doing. So I found my own little formula that works well for the tech show. And from there, it just went on. And it's okay. It's something that I'm doing now, and it's live. I do make mistakes. Sometimes the mic's off. Sometimes the mic's on. But it's okay, because the community live, they say, "Hey, Winston, your mic's off." I say, oh, okay, sorry. But
it's like a Zoom call.
And you get to interact live with the viewers, and this is something that you can't do on a video on YouTube. Interact with live viewers on a live stream is something that is unique. It's very interesting. It's interactive, and you actually get really your viewers, and the viewers know you as a person, and what you're doing with the presenting, and also the content, stuff like that, which is really good.
Well, I think we definitely have no choice but to do a live one down the road. Of course. And maybe we'll have some special guests with us, because I think that the additional guests and everything like that is out of our comfort zone might create an even better show for us. So, Winston, you know what? I think we gotta do this at some point. We gotta do this.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, we got like guests, for example, actually a local Canadian. He's actually in Nova Scotia. He's a retired radio host, show presenter, and he's more into this radio and DJ tech. We could talk a little bit about that. And of course, he does a lot of the voice stuff for one of the big manufacturers of gaming PC equipment. So,
is it Master Chief? Tell me it's Master Chief.
Master Chief. But
it's not Master Chief.
But he could be on the show, and that's something that we're looking forward to. And also we have one of our game kind of, I wouldn't say he's still gaming. He was one of the top gamers in Europe, and he was partially part of the esports team. But he's of course obviously retired, but he's kind of off the scene now. But he's still gaming, he's still streaming. Blaze, his name is, and he's been on our tech shows before. Very, very interesting character. He's from Belgium, loads of followers, and he plays loads of other online games, and it's a very interesting character. So we can talk about him exclusively, how he started, what he did for the gaming, his current status, and what all the esports scene is about. So we could talk about that as well.
I wonder if we can get Jonathan Fatality Wendell to come on. I mean, we did. I did have a party with him one year, and then his publicist called it the Fatality Party, which wasn't actually true. He was just part of it. But maybe we can, give him a nudge. Give him a nudge, right? Fatality. So, bottom line, okay, we've had an entire awesome stroll down memory lane from March, I guess. When did the lockdown happen? January, February,
2020,
all the way till now. What are the top 3 things that you learned that you will, that if something were to happen in the future, what are the top 3 things that you would actually have to be able to work from home? Like, what could you not live without?
Well, definitely coffee first, mate.
Coffee. I agree. Coffee.
Gotta get coffee down here. But definitely. I think PCs are a bit clunky. I'm a PC guy, but laptops are great. Work laptops fine. I'm not sure if some certain work laptops will have security stuff locked in and stuff like that. But definitely get yourself a laptop. They're affordable, and it's quite, you don't have to get the best gaming one. Definitely a webcam. If you have a laptop with a built-in webcam, that's fine. Do the Stephen's box trick. That works well. Get yourself a microphone and a headset. I think you don't really need a microphone, separate one, but you can get headsets with built-in microphones, and they work really well. This HyperX one works really great. I've actually taken the microphone off, but I only use that for gaming. But the microphone has a noise cancelling one as well. Get yourself a headset with the microphone. That works well, and you're ready to go.
They really are the best of both worlds.
Definitely a good Wi-Fi router and internet connection. That's it. Yeah.
I think I'm more or less the same. I would probably err on the more creator / portable side. Like, had I known that this is going to be long term, I think what I would probably do is, of course, I would have my laptop. So a good quality laptop. I would have my camera still, but in my capture box and everything like that, and I would have it all available in the backpack. I would definitely use a headset because obviously this whole setup takes a lot more effort. So either A, I would have a headset with a mic inside, or B, I would just have my headphones, which I love because I use them for editing. And I would actually have one of those USB mics. Rode makes one. It's called the NT USB. And it's this little tiny portable directional mic that you just stick right here. And it works so well. You can put it on a tripod and whatever. But just having that additional image quality from the camera, a little bit of extra audio quality, even though you're on the road, maybe you're in the mountains or something like that, you could still work as long as you have the power of a laptop and an internet connection, and which I think is very powerful. So my list is a little bit more minimalist, but I think that if I had those things, I would probably be okay, and I can continue working.
Yeah. And the other thing is subscriptions and apps. Don't be afraid to actually subscribe, because I was, 2 years ago, I was quite, I was thinking about shouldn't I subscribing to the Adobe platform, because I use a little bit of Photoshop, I use a bit of Premiere for editing videos, and I thought, well, do I really need to? Should I buy? Because it's going to cost me a bit. But trust me, you subscribe, and the subscription nowadays are a lot more tailor-made to you. In other words, you don't have to buy a software and own it. You can actually subscribe, which means you pay something like $20, $30, depending on what you want in the platform. And then if you like it, carry on and subscribe it and continue to use it. If you don't like it, you can actually unsubscribe anytime. Yeah. The good thing about nowadays with the subscriptions, because of the pandemic, people or large companies, streaming services and platforms don't expect you to subscribe or sign up for a whole year in a contract. They don't do that now. They used to, but not now. So with this flexibility of subscribing, don't be afraid to do it, because you get a lot more value with subscription and stuff like that. So Adobe, all the Photoshop stuff, Microsoft, for example, I'm only paying $9 a month for a whole Microsoft suite. Office, Excel, PowerPoint, Teams, everything, $9 a month. What's that? Yeah. 2 beers?
And if you buy, and if you buy the, like they sell them in retail, you can buy 2 to 3 years in advance. They give you such a huge discount. It's not even funny. And then you get a terabyte of OneDrive. There's so many benefits to that. As long as you're in the Microsoft ecosystem, and most corporations are, you're going to get full value out of that. In fact, definitely. If your employer was really generous and they allowed you to reimburse that, you don't even have to pay for it. You just submit the receipt and you're good to go. And that's such good value. And I think this kind of segues to a possible show idea, which is looking at all of the cloud subscriptions, maybe their alternatives, and then maybe giving pros and cons to the audience. I mean, if you like that idea, just let us know in the comments there. But, I'm sure that Winston and I know alternatives to Adobe Premiere Pro. I use DaVinci Resolve sometimes, which has some pros and cons. But there's also some other apps there that I think that we don't, if we think about it and we share with you, maybe you'll find a way to be more creative, because maybe that subscription is too much for you. I mean, we're in a position where we often can get these apps and everything because we can pay for them. But we also realize that a lot of you need alternatives that are just as good, maybe a little bit, maybe 99% there. They'll give you the same results at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. Google is free.
Google is free. Absolutely. I use both. But, sometimes you just have to use Microsoft, and there are special ways that you can buy it to get the best possible price. Now, as we come to a close here, how do people find you, Winston, when we're not making a podcast? How do people creep on you?
You can find me on Instagram at Winston Chim, and also on Twitter at Winston Chim. You can also find me on Facebook, but that's of course personal. But definitely you can reach out to me on social medias. And again, what about you, Stephen?
Well, you can creep on me on Twitter and also on Instagram at Stephen Fung. In the next couple of weeks, I will be working with some influencer programs, including a noodle company. So I'll be sharing a recipe or two. I will be also working on maybe some tire stuff. I can't remember. We have to talk to the sponsor about that, but they are looking at sponsoring me. to talk about that stuff because I like to drive my car a lot.
Yes.
All
yes,
right.
Definitely.
That is the end of the show, Winston.
Thank you. And
All right.
enjoy your weekend or weekday, whatever you are. And until next time, this is Winston. And
Stephen.
see you soon.
Bye-bye.